Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about symbiotic relationships. Now, you may be asking, what exactly is a symbiotic relationship? Well, if you want to be familiar with the word symbiotic relationship, you need to be familiar with the word symbiosis. Symbiosis describes the interaction in between two different organisms that have either a positive or negative impact on the organism. Now, I'm going to be talking about the different types of symbiotic relationships. And the first one I'm going to be talking about is going to be neutralism. Now, neutralism is a symbiotic relationship where both organisms don't really don't benefit and are unaffected by each other. I don't really have any examples because it's obvious. Neutralism is basically where both organisms just don't affect each other. Like, they don't benefit, they don't harm each other, they're just unaffected. Yeah. Anyways, the second symbiotic relationship that I'm going to be talking about is commensalism. Did I pronounce it right? Commensalism? Anyways, commensalism is a symbiotic relationship where the commensal organism benefits while the other is unaffected. It's more one-sided. So basically it's more one-sided because even though the other one doesn't get harmed, the commensal organism actually benefits from the non-commensal organism. So basically it's a one-sided symbiotic relationship. Now, one example of a commensal symbiotic relationship would be the one between birds and trees, where the bird would basically build a nest on the tree. While the tree doesn't get affected by the bird does get shelter and protection from the tree. While the tree remains unaffected by the bird's presence. The third one I'm going to be talking about is parasitism, and parasitism is, well, can't you see the name? It's the symbiotic relationship between parasites and their host, where the parasite benefits from the host by getting shelter, food, and protection. That is, shelter, food, and protection inside the host. But the host gets harmed by the parasite. Whether it's getting a nasty infection or disease. Now, it's similar to commensalism, but unlike commensalism, parasitism basically is where one organism, the parasitic one, gets the benefit while the host gets harmed. Right. I'm not going for the examples because it's obvious. parasites. Anyways, the next symbiotic relationship is gonna be predation. Predation is the symbiotic relationship between predators and prey, where the predator benefits and the prey, well, it gets turned into food for the predator. It's similar to parasitism as one organism benefits from the other, but there's only a difference. The only difference being is that predation takes out the prey, okay, while the parasite doesn't really take out the host. It doesn't kill the host. The parasite doesn't kill the host, but the predator kills the prey. It's one difference between parasitism and predation. The next symbiotic relationship is going to be the competition. Yeah. Competition even counts as a symbiotic relationship. No, I'm not kidding. I need to do some research. Competition is a symbiotic relationship, or at least it counts as one. Anyways, is competition is the symbiotic relationship where one or two organisms are harmed. Although competition can happen between two different species, for example, it could be, I don't know. Let's just say a Cape buffalo and a hippo would have some competition, and whether it's for food or water. But it can also happen between the same species, such as two males fighting, or should I say competing for a mate. Examples of two same species is specifically two same male species that would compete for mates. Mates would be, goats, of course, rabbits, and other kinds of animals. And don't forget bulls, of course. Now, for the last one I'm going to be talking about is mutualism. Mutualistic symbiotic relationship is where two or more organisms benefit from each other without getting harmed. And I will be placing some examples, but I'm only placing one instead. And as a species of bird known as the oxpecker would land on rhinos or zebras and eat the parasites that live on their skin. Now, both the rhino and zebra get less parasites, as the oxpecker basically works as some kind of pest control. And the oxpecker would benefit from the rhino and zebra by getting food by eating the parasites. And you think I'm going to be adding one example? Let's not forget the bees in the flowers. This also counts as a mutualistic symbiotic relationship, where the bee gets its nectar from the flower, while the flower benefits as the bee would carry its pollen pollinating other flowers in the process. Now you may be thinking, well, what about the fictional universe? There's gotta be some fictional characters, or fictional creatures that have a symbiotic relationship, right? Right? Well, yes, there are. There are examples also of symbiotic relationships in fictional universes, but I'm only going to be placing 3 examples. Those being the symbiotic relationship between Godzilla and Mothra from the 2019 Godzilla King of the Monsters. There's Eddie Brock and Eddie Brock and Venom from the Venom films, and not to mention Farah and Tom, not Tom, but Thor from Mortal Kombat. There are plenty of more examples. And that's about it for today's video. I hope this video is informative, and make sure to like and subscribe. And turn on notifications if you want to get more content. And I'll see you on the next video.